Hi, this is Laura Wogozogen, your math instructor for this semester. This video is going to briefly explore Project 2, which is on commute times. So right now I am on a tablet and I am in our Canvas course and I am looking at Project 2. This is a folder that we have in our modules. And so just going ahead and opening that up, I do have an intro video, which is this video is posted there. You can rewatch it as many times as you want. I also uploaded the project as a PDF as well as a Word document, and then also a place to turn that in. So Project 2 is on commute times. So this time we are going to be using data set 31 on StatDisk called commute times for the project. The data set includes the commute times in minutes of people in various cities, but we only are going to be worrying about the data coming from Los Angeles. Answers in the data set 31 on commute times is normally distributed. So this is an individual project, each student submitting their own project solutions. You may work together, but again, you should have unique answers for yourself. They should not be copied from one another. If two projects have the same wording for solutions, 0 points will be given for that part. Project needs to be typed. Each part needs to be correctly labeled and completed in order. You need to use a statistical computer program. Again, I will be using StatDisk. The information's there, same as the last project. And then also, projects must be uploaded to Canvas by the due date as a single PDF file. No late projects, and the points for each part are labeled next to the problem. Now you'll notice on this project, we do have more screenshots, more using that data, that program that we have and analyzing the data a lot more. So parts 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, and 11 all need to have screenshots of the output from StatDisk. No points are awarded for using a graphing calculator. Screenshots must be legible and inserted in the correct spots for your project and labeled. You also must provide clearly and state-specific answers, so make sure you round them correctly. And explanations need to be written in sentences. Show work for all calculations such as z-scores and outliers. Answers need to be rounded 3 decimal places. So for number 1, it says find the mean and the standard deviation of the commute times in minutes of the 1,000 people in Los Angeles. So if you notice, this time we don't have the capability of typing in the 10 protein bars like we did the last time. So this time we have a very large data set. And so in order to access this, I did put some screenshots at the bottom of the project. So here's how you would go ahead and access this data. So at the top, it does say data sets. Selecting down, you select the first option there, the 14th edition. From there, it's a large drop down and you need to go ahead and select 31. That's the data set that we're looking for on commute times. So it is typed on here. Any questions, please reach out and let me know, and then it should just load all that data in. So once you have all that data in, we did the same exact problem in coming up with the mean and the standard deviation using those descriptive statistics in project 1. Number 2 says to create a histogram of the commute times in minutes of the 1,000 people in LA, but this time for the histogram, I'm not telling you a class width or anything. It says use the auto fit option for class width. So you'll see that on StatDisk. Number 3 says to create a normal quantile plot of the commute times. Number 4, so does it appear that the commute times in minutes of the 1,000 people in LA are from a population having a normal distribution? Clearly explain and clearly check all 3 requirements. So go back and look in section 6.5. You should have 3 things written down there that you will have to check. One of them is going to have to deal with a histogram being roughly bell-shaped. One's going to be about outliers, and the third would be about the normal quantile plot. Number 5 says clearly check and verify that the requirements are satisfied to obtain a confidence interval of the mean commute times in minutes in LA. Show all work if applicable and clearly explain. So for this one, we will look at chapter 7 notes to kind of see what this is talking about, but this is just what we have to verify in order to actually find that confidence interval. Number 6 and 7 are both asking for confidence intervals, but this 6 is a 90% confidence interval, 7 is a 95% confidence interval, And both of those do say to interpret your results. So make sure you look at your notes for help with that if you're stuck on how to do that. That's again chapter 7. Number 8 asks what happens to your confidence interval when the confidence increased. So did it get wider? Did it get not as wide? Number 9 says, what is your commute time to get to Mount SAC in minutes? And if you do not live near Mount SAC, if you're in a different state or country, make sure that you select a city that you would prefer to live in that's close to Mount SAC and just estimate a commute time there. Number 10 says using data set 31 on commute times, find the probability that the commute time to LA will be your commute time in part 9 in minutes or longer. And then it asks, is this significantly low, significantly high, or not significantly, and not significant? Explain. And then 11 is very similar, except for it says that find the probability that the 25 people have a mean commute time in LA of 50 minutes or longer. Is this value significantly low, significantly high, or not significant? Clearly explain. So a few things to look at. One is going to be those requirements. That's back in chapter 7. So if you go back to unit 2 and you were to open up your chapter 7 notes, and again, these are blank, yours should be completed. And with the chapter 7 notes, if you scroll down, the first part that we have is talking about proportions. And at the bottom of page 3, you'll see step 2 here says to verify. And the things that it says to verify are going to be that it's a simple random sample, binomial distribution satisfied, and n times p and n times q are both greater than or equal to 5. This is for proportions. And again, that's at the bottom of page 3. So if you're dealing with proportions for your problem, that's where you would have to look and see what you would have to verify. Whereas if you're dealing with means, if the problem's asking about means instead of proportions, then we go into that section, and it's going to be at the bottom of page 6. You'll notice step 1 says to verify, and what you have to verify is SRS, which is again a simple random sample, and the population's normally distributed. If it doesn't say that, you also need to be checking that n is greater than 30. So that is where those requirements would be. From here, I'm going to go ahead and jump to StatDisk, but also don't forget that we do have that StatDisk folder in Canvas. So opening up StatDisk, this time if you notice I have no data, so to access that data you have to go to Datasets, click on 14th edition, and from here if you scroll down you'll notice that 31 says commute times. Selecting that, it will actually import all that data for you. So we had a couple new things here. One of them is going to be, we had a normal quantile plot. And so you'll notice that underneath histograms, there's box plots and also normal quantile plot. So we did have a histogram and a normal quantile plot for these, as well as the descriptive statistics. In addition, for analyzing for this, we have probability distributions because the last two were asking about the probability. And we do know that this is going to be normally distributed. So when you select normally distributed, it does ask for a z-value here. And so if you have the z-value, you need to, if you don't have it, you need to calculate this. And so this would have what you would put in there and then evaluate. You either know the z-value or you know the cumulative area to the left. So one of those two boxes you would fill in depending on what the question is about. So again with this, we did have, with our StatDisk help, we had our manual. And opening up the manual, again, everything is listed on page 5 in that drop down showing everything. And then on page 6, so this is page 5. Page 6 is nice because again, it does have all those chapters. And again, that normal probability distribution, chapter 6. 7 is dealing with our confidence intervals, which we saw also. But checking out number 6, chapter 6, we have finding areas and values with normal distribution. So this would be finding an area or probability. And it goes through the steps. So click analysis, select probability distribution, which is what we're looking at, select normal distribution, and then inputting in that value for your z-score. And it gives you the formula actually on here. So this is for project 2. Again, get an early start on it. Make sure you interpret if it says interpret, explain if it says explain, and then definitely ask if you have any questions.